Yo, what's going on Facebook? What's going on? Let me remove this. All right, what's going on? What's going on Facebook? Welcome to a special edition of Urban Health Outreach Media, Kidney Disease Education Moment. I'm your host, Steve Belcher. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let me tell you, I just got back today from my Houston trip. Man, that was a great trip. I was able to spend with my 10-year-old daughter in Humboldt, Texas. Very positive trip. I enjoyed every single moment. Definitely look forward to continue to go down there like every 2 months. But let me tell y'all, if you have an opportunity to go to Texas, man, there's a lot of things to do down there. I went to this place called Urban Air, like a trampoline park, skating ring, laser tag, a bowling alley that had laser tag, video games, skywalk, incredible. I mean, everything, they say everything in Texas is big. So if you ever make it down Houston, I mean, I think it's the third largest city. I'm not sure, but it's a lot of people and a lot of things to do. So let's move on to our show tonight. We have an awesome show. Let me tell you, last week when I had this guest on, it was so many things that was trying to disrupt this broadcast. We was having first connective issues. Then during the middle of the interview, I got a call from my daughter as she was going to pick up my granddaughter from cheerleaders practice that someone hit her. And I immediately was trying to find my partner, Jared, to come on. But really, I had to shut down the show to go check on my daughter. And that's what we did. Fortunately, by the time I was going to pick up my granddaughter, my daughter was fine. My daughter had called me and said the police came. They didn't need to file a report. She was able to still drive away, thank God, to go pick up my granddaughter. I am happy to say that her car is being fixed by the other insurance. She has a rental car and, is back like clockwork. So thank you for the prayers on that broadcast for my daughter. God is good. She just left tonight. My granddaughter does cheerleading practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So without further ado, I got to get to this guest because, again, she has an exciting story. And as we said last week, the transplant list is long. There's not enough donors. However, in the African-American community, you have a lot of African-Americans that are on the list, and you don't have none that's in the donor pool as well. Very small, very, very small percentage. However, this guest stepped up and was tired of seeing her friend on dialysis going through the struggles. And so she took it upon herself to go get tested. So I want to let her tell you her story because it's a fascinating one. Without further ado, let me bring on Trish Phillips, all the way from sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. What's going on, Trish?
Hello, Steve. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, thanks for coming back on. I know your time is precious. You're a very busy lady. And thank you for just taking the opportunity to come back and reshare your story.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy that you're giving me this chance to share my story and get the word out to everyone, especially in the African American community. But however, South Florida is not so sunny. We actually woke up to 48-degree weather. Now this is freezing for us here. Everyone that knows a little bit about Fort Lauderdale and the Miami area, everyone knows that this itself is extremely cold. Extremely.
Right.
So I guess you are sending the weather here.
Hey, but I'm sure it's going to lighten up in several days. Not like up here where we're going to probably continue to have these 30-degree temperatures throughout the rest of January and February. So we haven't even gotten through February yet.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't trade it. You guys can keep the snow and we'll worry about when hurricane season comes.
Right.
So that's what we'll
Absolutely.
do.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
But yes, I definitely wanted to thank you again for allowing me on your show and to speak on your platform. It is a truly
Sure.
an honor.
Sure. Well, thank you. I mean, we come a long way. I mean, we're not even halfway there, but I just thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I just thank God that our platform is hopefully reaching enough people. I mean, we didn't have too many people watching. And even right now, where I'm saying that there's 9 people actually watching the show, it fluctuates between 9, 10, and 12. We need more people to be watching to hear this information, to know what's going on. Even if they may not be dealing with any type of kidney transplant at this moment, you never know if your uncle, sister, brother, mother, or friend may get hit with kidney disease. And then when that happens, then what next? Then what?
Right.
A lot of people, Trish, when they find out they have kidney disease, it's too late and they're forced pretty much to go on dialysis instead of maybe trying to go the preemptive way and get on the transplant list before starting dialysis to at least give themselves a chance of finding a donor before starting this treatment.
Right. And as you mentioned earlier, we as a race, we are number 1 on dialysis. But then at the bottom of the totem pole to become living donors, especially, and also to sign up as organ donors. Since I donated my kidney back December 15th, 2016, I myself started a weekly kidney awareness show that's geared to African Americans. Now I don't leave out all races, because by far this is such a deadly disease across the board. But after donating and doing my research, it became very apparent and I became aware of how we are with the statistics in the African American community. And it was very alarming and overwhelming, the numbers that was out there. So I set out on a mission to let everyone know it's safe to donate and you can live on 1 kidney, and it's also safe to become a deceased organ donor once you are deceased. And you will be, well, I know you run across this a lot, all of the myths that goes behind if you put it on your driver's license and all this type of stuff. So it has just been an eye-opener for me, and I've been on a mission every day since then.
So let me ask you, let's just get right to it. What made you decide to donate? I guess you told me she was your best friend, well, your close friend at the time. And how long was she on dialysis before you donated?
Okay, to back up a little bit, Kimberly and I have been best close friends for over 20 plus years. Her daughters were at the age of 6 and 8 years old when I became like their, I guess you could say, godmother. And they are now currently 30 and 32, I believe. But I've known Kimberly all the full 20 years. And I met her at a hair salon. So she was actually my hairdresser. So it came to a point where she also owned her own salon. And it was days that go by where not only for myself, but for other clients of hers, we had to reschedule or she just wasn't feeling well. Now, she worked on her feet from days in and days out. And you know how it goes on the weekends with the hairdressers. So this became a 12-hour job where sometimes she wouldn't even sit or drink water like she's supposed to or eat properly. So the more she started feeling not well, She made it off to the doctor's appointments, and she was diagnosed with a form of kidney disease that actually runs in her family. So she was on dialysis for 3 years.
Polycystic?
Yes, yes. And I watched her suffer, Steve, for 3 years straight. Well, almost 3 years. She had crossed over the 2.5 mark for 3 days a week, 3.5 hours. And you know what that's like since you are an RN at a dialysis center. So it was just brutal to see her go through this. And then the time and the day after, it was just brutal. It was just brutal. And at the time when she was on dialysis, it did not cross my mind to even attempt to test. My parents were in their elderly age, in their 80s. So I was commuting every other week, 8 hours one way to go be with them. I had power of attorney. And then they eventually passed away 82 days apart. They were married 59 years. So my mother went first, and my dad couldn't go to the funeral. He was in the hospital. So he shut down and went 82 days later. So after that happened, Steve.
My condolences.
Thank you. It's been 5 years now. And so once they passed away, the journey on the highway still happened. We don't have an airport where I'm from, so it was a car drive. I fell in love with audiobooks, but a long story short, after power attorney duties and the trust over the state, all that ended for that point, Kimberly was still struggling. So I say to her, I myself, I was ignorant and not educated on the whole donor process. I was under the impression I had to be related to her. And I can admit, I'm woman enough to admit that I did not have the education or knowledge on being or becoming a living donor. So once I did the research and she told me how to get started, because I had to do it on my own. She couldn't pressure me. She couldn't ask me. I said, okay, well, let me try. I never in a million years did I think I would become a match. And that April of 2016, I started testing, and it was a roller coaster for me because at my transplant center, you had to have a BMI of 33% or less. So I had to lose minimum 20 pounds. I did lose 23. It took me, because you have to do it the old-fashioned natural way. You have to get your water, eat clean, no diet pills.
Stop you for a second.
Yes, you can.
I need to ask you, because you said some things that I really want to ask, that I want to, kind of not shed light, but what you said could just discourage a lot of people. And one thing you said was absolutely. But one thing that you mentioned, that you had to have that BMI at a certain goal. And so that means you had to lose weight. When you found that out, did that put any discouragement in you at that time, where you had to push through that? Or it was like, all right, I got to lose weight, I'm going to do it? I mean, because it wasn't like at the time you was trying to lose weight, or say, oh, let me start exercising. I don't know. But because you was pushed into that because of you had to donate, did that put any doubt, like maybe I shouldn't have? Any doubt seep in when that hurdle came up?
Actually, Steve, no, Steve, there was no doubt. I had been struggling trying to lose weight beforehand, and I just could not do it. But because I had to do it the old-fashioned way, the healthy way, because of labs and testing, and you couldn't lose it fast, it actually was the light bulb moment that I needed to push me through. So not only did I give Kimberly a gift, it was a gift for me because I also became healthy. And when I say the transplant center, the guidelines where I donated, you had to have a BMI of 33% or less. Now, this, I don't want to discourage anyone. This is for all living donors' benefits to go under the guidelines that I guess you could say your transplant center issue you, because it will help you in the long run. Reason why you would get denied if you're overweight, because the risk factors are greater for high blood pressure if you're obese. And you don't want to have obesity going in the donation, because on coming out, you want to decrease any complications where you could have high blood pressure because you're overweight. Diabetes plays into effect, type 2. So they are looking out not only for Kimberly, the recipient's best interest, they're also looking out for the donors to have a healthy lifestyle moving forward, living on one kidney. So it's good that the transplant team sticks their neck out and make sure you are under these guidelines to donate.
Did you have to go through a psychological assessment?
Absolutely. The whole works.
And how was that like? How was that like?
Well, I actually was nervous because I was like, my bestie always told me that I was a little crazy, because she's one of the people that makes fun of my labels in the cabinet. Like all of the bottles, the cans, everything has to be lined up face together or I lose it. So she was like, oh, we wonder if you're going to pass everything. And then I said, well, you got to remember, it takes a crazy individual that want to give an organ away. So I got this. So I really wasn't too nervous, because when I worked for the fire department, I had to have a psych eval. So I kind of knew what to expect. To me, the hardest part about the testing was not the psych eval. It was all of the things that your medical transplant team sit you down and tell you that could happen, the complications, the risk factors. That was more scarier for me than the psych eval. Oh, and the CT scan.
The risk factors, did you experience any of them that they mentioned to you?
Absolutely, with no regrets. And minor compared to what I have seen some living donors. If you're out there listening, do not get discouraged. Do not take this the wrong way, because of out of the 100% that donates, maybe a 1% may get something minor. And it's not really even anything to mention. It's also some of the things you have to give up that could cause risk factors, like all of the NSAIDs, the ibuprofens, the Aleve, the Motrins, that type of stuff you have to give up. I myself used to ride Harley Davidsons, but because I'm missing a vital organ, the traffic I live in Fort Lauderdale, there's no way I would want to put myself at risk. So this is a risk factor that I chose to give up. They don't make you give up riding motorcycles, but that's something I chose to give up. It's dangerous here in the car.
Well, let me just say this: with any surgical procedure, I don't care if you're a donor or a recipient in general surgery, there's always risk factors. Like they said, the art of medicine is not exact science. And so with that being said, you're going to have some people that's going to go through surgery with no complications at all. It's like a spectrum. You're going to have some people that go through surgery that's going to have complications. I mean, it's percentages, and those are the risks of having major surgery. I mean, so that there are risks complications to any surgery, regardless if it's open. If you're looking for a heart, if you're looking for lungs or liver, kidneys, it doesn't matter. It's always risk and consequences to these medical procedures. So
all of them,
now,
even removing
yes,
your
absolutely.
tonsils. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I have no regrets. I would do it again if I could. So yes, no regrets.
Could I ask, could you share maybe some of the questions that they asked you during the psych eval? Is that like private? I mean, could you make a couple?
Now you have to remember, we're speaking 3 years ago. Most of them were.
Did they ask you, were you doing this for monetary reasons?
Absolutely.
Did that question come up?
And then they asked if you were forced or doing it for monetary gain. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Or pressure.
Did they ask you if you were pressured? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
And they were concerned a lot about depression, like how you would deal with after the fact. That was a big key of it, like how you would handle being depressed. Or how would you feel if your kidney was rejected, and would you feel like you donated for no reason? Those type of questions. So it's based more around depression type issues. And then I had an issue with, not necessarily with the psych eval, but I was a bit of a concern because I was considered a loner, meaning I'm not married. No family members that could move to take care of me, and no living parents. So they were concerned about my well-being and my caregiver. So I had to have another best friend move with me from Georgia. Now, my transplant was not done in Fort Lauderdale. My transplant was done out of town, 3 hours away. So we had to move there, myself and my recipient, and also my caregiver. So my sisters could not move down from where they resided to take care of me in Tampa. So I also, and I have a boyfriend, he couldn't move because he runs a major company here. So he could not move also.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to ask you a hard question now.
Okay.
And it's just the reality of the situation. It is what it is. But with as much disparity that's in the African American community, and what you just mentioned about what you had to do to go through the transplant, move out of town for a while, and being considered a loner, and a vast majority of African Americans, are at disparity, or maybe say unemployed, or maybe have jobs that health insurance may not be spectacular, or don't have leave. What incentive would one have if they have those barriers to donate? You understand what I'm saying with that question? Because let's just face it, there's more whites that donate than blacks. And I would say with most African Americans that do have some type of wealth, if they're not donating their money, they might not donate their organ unless it's someone close. How do we break through these barriers to give incentive for more African Americans to donate? Because if I'm working at McDonald's or Walmart and I have a friend that needs a kidney, and say I may want to donate, but I'm working at Walmart, and a lot of Walmarts, I'm not sure how many, but I've read that a lot of Walmarts get their employees to apply for Medicaid so they don't have to pay for insurance. Now, it may not be in every state, but I have seen suits against Walmart for paying low wages, and employees can't qualify for their health plan. And so where does that leave one if they want to donate, but yet they don't have no paid time off? They don't have nothing, they still, bills going to still accrue the rent, the car payment, the insurance, and whatever else they, debts they got to pay while they're recovering. Who's going to cover that? And especially if they don't have any savings to fall back on, or no 401k or investments. How do we help those individuals?
Okay. I want to make sure I get all those questions you just threw at me. First, I want to start off by saying the incentive that comes with this, it takes a special person to be a donor, whether it's direct or non-directed. Mm-hmm. And my belief, which I have my own higher power, I'm not turning this into a religious thing, but my higher power, I knew if it was meant for me to donate, it would be made possible. And when I say that, I was blessed myself. I was fortunate enough to have a savings, and my transplant team also made sure you had certain amount of funds, like 3 months worth of funding. But my recipient, she had good insurance, Kimberly. Her insurance covered everything. To this day, I still have not seen one medical bill. But however, there are some people, and this, I think, Steve, to be honest, it's not only an African American thing, because I have ran across Caucasians and Spanish with this same concern. So I don't think it's just us. It goes broad spectrum with all races. They're concerned what will happen with their bills. Now, at the time I donated, there is a funding, I think it was called Legacy Fund or Legacy Foundation. We'll have to Google this. In the state of Florida, I'm not sure if they're all over. And then, they make ways too. If someone's a perfect match, in my opinion, if you're out there listening, from donor to potential donor, do not let monetary value or monetary worries or concerns stop you from donating. There are so many people that need organs, where if you're doing something this unselfish, to donate and provide someone to save another life on an organ we do not need now, and you don't need your organs when you're deceased, your higher power will make a way for you to be covered. The recipients, they usually step in if they don't have the insurance. I have seen time, Steve, across the board in all races where the recipient has done bake sales. They have done fundraisers. I've seen one female, a Spanish lady, do a Krispy Kreme fundraiser. I know we say Krispy Kreme, those are not healthy, but by any means necessary, I don't think there is a recipient that would, if they can have a living organ and they know this donor had financial difficulties, would not try to help her. But like I said, there's funds. I'm trying not to get choked up, because I don't want anyone to have this as an obstacle for them. Their higher power will make a way, and their recipient will come. You'll be amazed. I've seen miracles happen. Anonymous donors. I've seen Facebook pages start stuff, GoFundMe. So it's a way. It's a way. So if you're listening to this, do not let becoming a living donor stop you because you're worried about your financial welfare for the future. And they do. Now, one thing I must add, as the donor, unless your recipient is, detrimental, where the kidney needs to go in them right now, in her person or in their person, you can set your date that's more convenient. Like I found out in September I was a match and I had lost the weight and that it was a go ahead. They allowed me to choose the date around when I could have the most time off. I chose around the Christmas time. And they also allow you, if you need to get a little bit more monetary cushioning fund. Now, I had the money already set, but I wanted to make sure my job was set where I had something to come back to, where I didn't just abandon it. And I wanted my boss to see that I do still care about the company. So they allow you as donors, living donors, future potential donors, to set it what's more convenient if you need to get a cushion.
So let me ask you this. Were there any stipulations? Well, I don't want to say stipulations, but any guarantees made to you if, God forbidding, if something were to happen to you and you lost that one kidney? Because diabetes and hypertension cause kidney disease. You have viruses and other diseases that can cause kidneys to shut down. Has there been any promises if such a thing were to happen to you where your one kidney shut down, that you would be at the top of the list for a transplant?
No, that is a myth. I found out doing my research. It is a point system. The list works off a point system. We are given a point because we were donors and because we have the one donor, but that does not guarantee us to skip above the top of the line. The goal is, once you become a donor, is to follow the lifestyle changes that you're supposed to. I myself, before donating, I was not a drinker or a cigarette smoker or any type of marijuana smoker. I already lived that part of my life where I didn't have to give up anything. So the key to the donors is to try to live a healthy lifestyle to prevent those things, where you would not need to get a kidney or go on dialysis yourself. Things can happen, but don't have them to happen to you because it's something you did. Like if I'm out eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I gain 200 pounds, and then I'm drinking and smoking heavily, I am myself becoming a risk on my own doing. Don't do something they let you know as a donor. Don't do things to put you where you would need a kidney yourself or become on dialysis. That makes sense.
Right. So if anybody's going to donate or want to donate, this is something that they really, really need to think about, in doing, not just making an impulsive decision, but looking at the both pros and cons of donating their organs.
Absolutely. And they go in and they tell you all of the things you may have to change in your lifestyle. And they always ask you, you can back out at the last minute as they rolling you in the OR.
Do you think a lot of people, when they go in and originally, like, you may have some people who may be gun-ho to donate. Do you think there's a certain population that at first they're really ready to want to help somebody, but when they go to the transplant center, they get overwhelmed from the information and decide to back out? Do you think there's a population like that of people?
I wouldn't say a population, but there are few. I was next to a couple that a few people, when they found out that their alcohol intake would have to be cut, or another person, she just couldn't grasp her mind. When we're trying to be a donor, it's like they take 32 vials of blood in one day. So a lot of the tests, and then she knew she would panic over the CAT scan too. So I've seen people back out. It just wasn't for them. I'm not saying if they didn't go back to retest at a future time, But those particular people, they were not donating to someone they knew. They were doing non-directed. They were going to be part of a chain, or have someone appointed to them that they were going to donate to.
Okay, so let's talk about, out of all this that you done for someone else, donated your kidney, you decided to advocate and host a radio show advocating. How did that come along, Trish? I mean, you went from donating to your great friend, and after that, you didn't just stop and say, okay, I donated, I'm going to go on with my life. But you decided to make this an advocacy movement for you with a radio show plus speaking to people. How did that come about?
I would say coming up March 14th actually will be 2 years since I've started my show. It happened one day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It happened in the daytime. It's an AM gospel radio station. In the daytime, it's all gospel format, where the clients consist of either chiropractors or ministers or church organizations. So I have a client that owns the largest African American roofing and waterproofing company. He owns
that's awesome.
Yes, he owns all of our overnights, Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing. So he approached me, him and his wife approached me and said, hey, I found out that you were a living kidney donor. This is rare. They said I was the first Black donor they met, and they had family members that needed kidneys but have run on and passed. And they said, maybe we should get the word out. I will buy all of the overnights, and we turn all of that into a health and wellness and business. So they bought all of the overnights and part of the days.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I wish I have an AM radio show. I wish I had a donor like that. Wow.
And they have been such a blessing to me, and
That's
they
awesome.
have been on board with everything. So when they approached me with this, now I've been at my radio station, April will be 26 years. I started out there.
That's awesome.
As a part-time DJ, but I retired. I climbed till I became the general manager.
Okay.
So I said, oh my gosh, I'm rusty. I haven't done a radio show in gosh knows for how long. So all of my board operators and DJs, they told me I could do this. They cheered me and I did it. The first show was horrible, but now they've gotten much better. And you're going to have to be a guest on my show.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Just let me know.
Absolutely. We have March is National Kidney Month and April's National Donor Month. So hopefully I can get you in one of those 2 months. I'm working on my my script, my schedule.
Yeah, I'll fly to Fort Lauderdale and come into your studio.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Maybe I can get my donor to fly you down, my sponsor.
Sure. If they're willing to do it, I'll come. We did it. We was doing a tour at one time, going around the different states at different, coffee houses or wherever, trying to raise awareness and talk to and meet people who had kidney disease, do a live broadcast right there at the coffee house.
So like a remote.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. But yeah, I'll definitely come down Fort Lauderdale. So how popular is the information with kidney disease? I know you shared that a lot of people are be expecting your show to come on.
Right. It's really have grown. I have 2 segments. It's a 30-minute show. But what everyone gets the kick out of, I do a healthy segment where I'm telling them to maybe if they use turmeric, that'll help with inflammation. If they use ginger root, that will help them if they had an upset stomach, just to give you an example. So I had to let them know that I am not a medical doctor. This is just a recommendation. Do not stop your meds. Do not come off your meds.
Absolutely.
Because I had to make sure they knew that this is just a suggestion to add in if their doctor said it was okay. So this is a healthy, the popular, and then the all-time favorite is at the end of the show, I give them a moment to get their pen and paper, to give them the 2 simple tests to ask their primary doctor for, and you to examine them for. So you know the ACR for the urine and then the GFR for their blood test. And I give them the ranges. And most of them, you will be amazed, Steve, how many of them call me from the doctor's office. And I'm trying not to laugh, but just last week, a doctor called and I almost didn't answer the phone, said he had such and such patient there. And he wanted to know who I was because he never could get this patient of his to drink water. And I go over like what the urine colors are supposed to mean. Mm-hmm. And I got her to drink water by infusing it with lemons or watermelon. And she likes the watermelon and the mint leaves.
And you never met this lady in your life?
Never. But wow. She said she's going to come down. She has mailed me a donation towards wow. my radio show. So wow. long story short, now this doctor wants to be a guest and possibly a client of ours.
Wow.
It's really growing.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, we can get that, spread it, getting people the information mm-hmm. and general practitioners to really be concerned with patients when it comes to these diseases like diabetes and hypertension, because mm-hmm. those are the 2 leading causes of kidney disease.
Right. And mm-hmm. Steve, since I've been on this journey, I must say it has really changed my whole outlook on everything. I have met some amazing people in my life. I don't know if you're aware of a lady by the name of Kate Griggs. She does the world wide kidney donors. You'll see us like holding the banners. She does them for recipients, donors, double lung transplants. Actually, with the Rose Bowl parade, Maria, I can't think of her last name, but she was the one holding Howe, which brings me to him. He never leaves my side when it's time for stuff like this. For people to see, get a good look at him. This is hello, everyone. His name is Howe the Owl. And what he does, he helps others with love. He comes from a place of love, and he is so lovable. He doesn't just give us an opportunity to walk around as adults with a stuffed toy. He was created by the founder. Her name is Brenda Cortez, and I actually have her information. Okay, this is How the Owl, and yes, Brenda E. Cortez. You can go and follow him on Facebook. And parts of, if you were to purchase him, it's also a collection of children's books that help everyone, especially kids, understand if there's surgeries needed for transplants or if mommy or daddy has to go to the hospital. And he brings awareness. When I'm bringing him around, Steve, everyone is asking me, what am I doing or who is he? So it's howtheowl.com. And Brenda E. Cortez, you can go under my page if you need to, and you can find her or you can post a link. I think Hal has been on your show. I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. Brenda's been on my show. I know she's happy. You just gave her a ton of advertisement.
Well, this is not even really for advertising. It's to get the message out there.
Oh, and absolutely.
He's such a big support.
Absolutely.
And like I said, because I met George Franklin through this, and then there's
oh yeah, George with Oscar Howe.
And then there is Jean Syme, who is amazing with this. We're all advocates, and it gets the word out.
She's been commenting tonight on a lot of your
she has?
She says Hal is the man. Jean
She
Syme,
said for me to do my ear if I can hear you talking about her.
Yeah, she's mentioned Brenda Cortez. And
okay,
even
is Kate Griggs listening?
I don't see her on here. She could be, but she didn't,
because she's
comment.
a remarkable person. You know, she's also the one who organized the Chicago Bean Guinness World Record book, and she's the one over the cruises. So she's really pounding the pavement too. So I have really, and then not to mention you, I have really networked with some amazing people. And then I know you're aware of the novel Gifted.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I actually read that book. Well, I listened to it on audio and it was remarkable. I think I saw somewhere where you listened to it.
No, I was going to have the doctor on the show who wrote that book. If this is the same one, I'm not sure.
I want to make sure I find his name, the author of Gifted. It's on my Facebook page too. Mm-hmm. I want to call his name out. Let's see. Here it is. Robert Horsey, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah. I just no. Is that the guy with the basketball in his hand?
Yes, Gifted. Have you read this, right?
No. Somebody shared it with me.
Listen to me. It's a must read. It goes through all descriptions of how the transplant process is. He's the main character is the procurement lead. And it is just amazing. The mother of the boy with the basketball, she was African American, and it was typical how you would expect it to go. I don't want to give the book away.
Sure.
But it is amazing. That is a must. You have to, Steve, especially with you being an RN working at a dollar center. You have to.
Oh, I retired.
Oh, you retired now?
Well, due to injury.
Okay. But it is, the book is, mind blowing. And for it to be on Audible, that was a plus for me.
Wow.
Because I don't have time to sit and read. You have to. Right. It's a must.
Okay. Hopefully, the person who wrote that are they dealing with kidney disease?
No, he's one of the head procurement team specialists at the particular transplant center where he works. Mm-hmm. And so he sees it from the recipient and donor perspective.
Okay. Wow.
So you really should reach out to him and maybe have him on your show.
Okay. Wow. So let me ask you, what is the future for Trish Phillips in this arena?
The future for Trish Phillips is to continue to live my best life, following doctor's orders. And
so you still have to see a doctor?
I do labs every 6 months. This was recommended by my transplant team. I no longer see them after 2 years, but I do go every 6 months to have my labs.
Is that covered by your donor?
No, it is now covered by my recipient. No, it's covered.
I'm sorry, by your recipient.
It's covered through my personal insurance.
So I was going to say, what about for someone who, again, that goes back to my question, someone who's working a job that may not have good insurance and they want to donate, and, say if they recommended to get checked out after they give their kidney because they may be at now a little bit more risk for diabetes or hypertension, where would that lead down?
Okay, usually, let me back up a little. Usually all you would need is one annual visit to the doctor. I do too, because I have had surgeries non-related to my transplant, to my donation, women changes. So
sure.
So because I have had 2 other organs pulled out since my kidney, a gallbladder removed, and also a hysterectomy, which are not donation related.
Sure.
I've been recommended to do twice a year. Normally, it's just like any other random person, an annual doctor visit. And Steve, if they don't have medical insurance, you do know they can have these same yearly exams at health departments.
Okay.
You can get tests at health departments. And to do the math, because I asked my primary, my PCP, what would this run if I just so happen to not have insurance? If you're looking at full work of labs, you can get away with an appointment for $250 to $375 here or there. And even though someone may not be financially wealthy, I see that we, as no matter what race, will come up with money for what we want to have it for. And for me, I'd rather pay it on my health now than to pay it at the hospital or in a cemetery.
Right.
Or pay for it, do preventative instead of going to the cemetery. So we make ways to come up with money. I have a friend who tells me, oh, I would never buy any red bottoms or Gucci shoes, but then she would spend on an Apple laptop, a notebook. So we pick and choose what we want to spend money on. So there's a will, there's a way. You can raise money for the going to the doctor if you had to.
You're right. That's true. That's true. Let me ask you, do you think, as a donor, do you think that there are people out there who have donated a kidney, a kidney, because if you can donate a lung and be alive, or a heart, but have donated a kidney and later regretted it? Is there any mention of that out there in the donor community? Yes,
there's a lot, and those are the people who have, in my opinion, will not have a normal life, healthy life afterwards. They came out with a lot of complications.
Just because they went to donate their kidney, they came out with complications that we talked about in the beginning, that the risk and complications for surgery. These are the percentage of people who were affected. So it's real. That percentage is real. It's real. Sure.
It's lower. It's more of a success without complications than it is not success and have the complications. But like you said, it's definitely real.
So those people do exist.
Yes, they do exist.
And how do I guess by talking about it, they can move past it? How do, if you belong in any of these groups, do they push through on their resentment or anger for making such a unselfish act, and then being affected by the complications? How may some have pushed through that to kind of deal with the situation?
As far as the ones I know, I'm in a living donor complications group, and it helps that it's a safe place where they can vent, and they are seeking help for their health, and they just go day by day. And it's like I said, it's just a handful of them.
Wow. I mean, it's real. It's real. Wow.
And it's sad. And I find, after doing my research, the ones with the biggest complications, not always, but I see a lot of them, it's because they did not go in it as healthy as they should have been, or they have done a post-donation activities that does not put them in a healthy place.
Right. Now, let me ask you, you said they may have went in not as healthy as they should have been. And if that was the case, then could we maybe put a little blame on the transplant process, because they may have discovered maybe some of these things before actually moving forward for the transplant?
Okay, I won't. Okay, for me, myself,
sure,
I wouldn't put it all on the transplant person, because The center, I mean, because for an example, what if someone was a heavy drinker, but that wasn't detected in going into the transplant center and during the process? So, in my opinion, what's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. Everything's arranged in the environment through the universe. What you put out, you put in. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I won't put the fault really on the transplant team or on the donor, because someone can go in healthy, 100%. I mean, a image or dictionary Webster picture perfect health and still have a complication. So I guess it's like a gamble. You never would know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Trish, as we come down to, well, we're over the broadcast limit, but that's okay. The last 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to ask you two questions. The first one is, what would you like for people to know about transplant donation?
Okay. If you're listening, you are able to become a living donor and have a healthy life. You can live on one kidney. There are some transplant teams that allow you, centers that allow you to donate a percent of your liver, a lobe. So if you're out there listening, do not let worries of monetary values or you worried about if you're going to live a healthy life, because you can. I'm living proof of it. I would not take it back. I have absolutely no regrets. There are so many people on dialysis that needs organs, need a kidney, and there are also so many other people that need organs. So also it's important, sign up to be an organ donor. Please, please get these myths out of your head. Research anything, contact Steve. You can contact me if you have any questions. Go online, because all of these myths need to be debunked. It is all a myth. Please, if you could just help one person, even if you're doing something as minor as donating blood, please help everyone. If I could give out as more organs now while I'm alive, I would. Please do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And my next question is, if someone was watching right now and they donated and they wanted to do what you're doing, like advocate, what would you tell them where to start?
I would say if they didn't have the radio
Where to
platform,
donate it?
yes, if they don't have the radio platform to start with, it's easy, because I started with Donate Life. You can sign up to be ambassadors. You can get involved with NKF, National Kidney Foundation. I've ran campaigns for them. I've done kidney walks, and I've become an ambassador for Donate Life. I'm an ambassador for Howl the Owl. So there's many things you can do. And you can even just go down to your driver's license department, your DMV, and speak with them. It's easy to get started.
Mm-hmm.
And we need everyone in the African American community to get on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
Especially.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you one question. You mentioned several people's names. You mentioned Gene Syme, Brenda Cortez, George Franklin,
Kate Griggs.
Kate Griggs. Have you met any of these people in real life?
In my head.
Not in real life, but in person. I'm sorry, in person.
In my head, but actually, no. Okay, we will all be meeting in 22 days. We will all meet each other.
Right. And so, with that being said, what I was going to ask you, by you not meeting these individuals, what do they mean to you? Or how special are they to you? Not meeting them and being involved with this, with How the Owl campaign. What do they mean to you without even meeting them in person and just meeting them through social media?
Well, Steve, I guess this is where my quirkiness comes into play, because in my head, I've already met every single one of them. And I guess reason why I feel like we all already know each other, even though we have 22 days before we meet in person.
Where is that going to be?
In Cocoa Beach.
Awesome.
I
wish I was there to film that.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Kate was working on getting someone to film us. It's because of the union we have, the connection we have, whether you're an organ donor or a recipient. It's an unspoken bond that I don't think anyone will get or even come close to understanding the love we have for each other and the connection that we formed through social media. So yeah, it's undescribable, the connection we all share. And yes, in our heads, we already know each other.
I can
that
feel
didn't
it.
Sound too crazy.
No, I can feel it in your emotions.
Yeah, they have big. You have no idea the connection I have with them, because I don't have anyone locally here that, like my recipient, she works and she's an introvert and I'm an extrovert. So I've always been the voice for she and I. And like Jean Sign, she's the voice for her donor, Patricia. So it's like to have this connection and people that's like-minded that want to spread the word. It's undescribable.
I can understand. Wow. Well, Trish, I mean, this has really been a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Just hearing your story, saying that, it makes me think about the people I met advocating, like Lisa Baxter, Don P. Edwards, Jared A. Brown, and his brother Jeffrey Brown.
Okay.
All advocates, trying to spread the word. Some with kidney disease still trying to spread the word, and I myself do have kidney disease, but I'm in stage 1.
Okay.
But we're just trying to hit this from all sides, like you and the people you mentioned are trying to advocate for the whole donation portion, and over here we're trying to spread word on transplant, as well as advocacy, or any other education material or issues that may affect people on or off dialysis. So,
right.
I mean, this disease is so big and so dynamic that you have to come at it from all different angles. It can't just be one organization. I mean, if that was the case, the National Kidney Foundation would had it locked down, but no one organization can do this by themselves.
No, it takes several of us across the board. And I thank you for your platform as well.
I thank you for coming on. I really do. And I mean, I just believe in the word of God. I believe in faith. If you would have ever asked me 3 years ago, would I be doing something like this? I couldn't tell you I'd be doing this. I was immersed in the field of dialysis and trying to do this, but unfortunately, God had another plan for me and got me out of dialysis to do this. That's just how I feel about it.
Yes, He arranged your environment.
Because God told me, a lot of people may think this is crazy, but I had a spiritual moment where I was in the dialysis unit, a 30-chair unit, and he told me that I need to not educate 30 people in the unit, but 30 million people. And that's the spirit that came through me. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do with the help of God.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So, Trish, thank you. Any shout outs you want to give before we close the show?
I just want to thank my Facebook living donor family and my recipients, all of my friends. They know who they are. Jean, Kate, Brenda, George, you, everybody, the whole clan. You know who you are if I forgot your name. And then I want to thank my sponsors, Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing here in Fort Lauderdale, Nikki V from Wexy, and Kimberly, of course, all of my closest friends here. I have two close friends there in Baltimore that have stood behind me regardless, and that is Kenya, and also we have Chris. They're up there in Baltimore. Hopefully they're listening. And so everybody out there, and of course my sisters and my niece, and that is about it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I definitely would like to invite you back. And also, we do a show every Wednesday called Warriors Quest with Jared A. Brown.
Okay.
And we have like co-hosts come on from time to time to co-host with Jared to interview the person that's seeking a living donor.
Oh, that's nice.
While they sharing that platform, you know, interact with them, and then at the same time, you have another chance to kind of share your journey on donating, and this will even be awesome for you to co-host with Jared on the show, because that way you're a donor and you have somebody who's looking for an organ, so you can be that ray of hope for them, that they're able to talk to an actual living donor. Didn't even think about that until now. So if Jared, you watching, I think this would be an awesome show for Trish to co-host on upcoming, if not tomorrow. I mean, I know you're busy, but our show is every Wednesday. So whenever you have
a Wednesday, I would love to sit in on a Wednesday.
Yeah, whenever you have a Wednesday available. Please, he just said it. Jared, he just said, I'd love to have Trish Phillips as a co-host. So if we can connect y'all, yeah, that would be an awesome show.
Jared is really active. He's the one that always sends me to like someone's page. He's very active.
Yeah, and his brother is active as well. Jeffrey, he's in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both. But Jared, because he's in the States, he's putting a lot of work in and a lot of energy into what he's doing. And he doesn't even have kidney disease. His sister-in-law had kidney disease and got a transplant. And he's made it his part of his life's effort to help kidney warriors find a donor. Him and his brother.
Where are you seeing those comments at?
Oh, I have a watch party going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
But there is a lot of comments on the stream that I posted.
So you can be that ray of hope for them.
Is that you?
I see them. Okay, I think I found them. Okay. I'll go back to read them.
Right.
Okay,
but
thank you.
But again, thank you for coming on and being part of this platform, sharing your story, sharing your advocacy work, sharing your love for the other donors who donated their organs. We appreciate your candidness on sharing about the complication group. I know that's not an easy topic for you to talk about because you don't want to discourage anyone from donating. But however, the truth is the truth. Once we know the truth, then people can make a informed consent decision whether they want to or not. I mean, because it happened to someone else, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to you. You know, so I really thank you, Trish, for coming on and being as honest, frank, and candid as you were. We definitely look forward to you being on Warriors Quest.
Absolutely. I'll be honored.
All right. And again, thank you and enjoy the weather down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love
And
you
Steve,
too. Take care.
I'll speak to you soon.
All right, Trish. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Guys, this was an awesome show. I'm telling you, I knew this energy was going to be great. Last week wasn't the week for this to happen. It was supposed to happen today. And we got the information out there, the good, the bad, and the ugly of donor transplant. Just because one situation happens to one person doesn't mean it's going to happen to someone else. So please, if you find it in your heart to donate, please get tested and save a life. Be the gift of hope for someone who definitely needs it. Thank you for watching the show. Tune in tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live broadcast of Warriors Quest with Jared A. Brown. It's going to be on fire. Jared, I don't know who his guest is. I should have been prepared, but Jared's come on and let you know who his guest is. Again, thank you for watching this special education broadcast from Urban Health Outreach Media. We see you again tomorrow night, 8:30, Jared Brown and Warriors Quest. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. God bless you. Stay blessed and encouraged. Peace.